Welcome back to our series on the National Monument to the Forefathers. My name is Libertas. You can find all of this information on our YouTube channel and also at Liberty Man Online, libertyman.online, and it'll be there for you. So what we're going to look at today in our progress through the National Monument to the Forefathers is we're going to look at a plaque called One Small Candle by Governor William Bradford. And it's very enlightening, but also the significance of what this accomplished in the future in our day and time might be enlightening to you. So let me pull it up here on my screen share and we'll take it from here. It says right here, this part of the statue is between the seated figures of law and education. And it reads, "Thus out of small beginnings, greater things have been produced by his hand that made all things of nothing, and gives being to all things that are. And as one small candle may light 1,000, so the light here kindled hath shone unto many, yea, in some sort to our whole nation. Let the glorious name of Jehovah have all the praise." Jesus Christ commissioned his apostles, and he told them that he wanted them to wait for the promise of the Father, which was Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost. But he told them, once you are baptized with Holy Spirit, I want you to begin here in Jerusalem and in Judea and Samaria and to the uttermost parts of the earth. Go east and west from there. Now, the latitude, this is just a little sideline here that I think is interesting, but the latitude of Jerusalem going around the earth, if you look at a map of the United States of America, you see the Florida Panhandle and the boots of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. That is called the Florida boundary. Well, that is the southern boundary of the United States of America, and it just so happens to run real close to my house. But anyway, with that in mind, there's a reason that that southern boundary is there for, and the significance of that southern boundary, and also the northern boundary, which originally Canada was French. So the boundaries where the British colonies were established were significant because they brought the Bible here. All the rest of the colonies, for the most part, were settled by the French and the Spanish, who were all Catholic, and so the individual didn't read the Bible that much. That's just the way it was. Where I grew up, or where I live now, was settled by the French in 1699, and it was all Catholic, and we still have a very large Catholic population here because of the French and the Spanish heritage. The rest of the state of Mississippi, not so much. So anyway, it says here, as one small candle may light 1,000. Jesus' commission to the original 12 and to their disciples was to go around the whole entire earth, making disciples of all the nations. Not just being a missionary to some ancient tribe in the middle of the jungle, which is all part of it, but to disciple the entire nation, teaching them everything that I have taught you. And we're told in the Paul's epistles to not let our candle, our light, or our lamp be put under a bushel. Let everyone see it. And is how one small candle can light 1,000, start a brush fire, which becomes a huge, massive thing. Then you can see how little things can become big. And after the Constitution and all this kind of stuff, when people would come over here from foreign countries to observe why we were so successful in such a small amount of time and how our culture was unique in the history of the world, they all went back to their countries and said, these guys, and especially Alexis de Tocqueville, he said about American exceptionalism, and he said this was it, was that the American people themselves literally believe in the liberty wherewith Christ has set them free. So let's look at this one other thing here. So let's look at this statue right here and see if you see any resemblance to faith. We all know her. She is called the Statue of Liberty. Well, I claim that she is the little sister of faith on the National Monument to the Forefathers. If you look at the statue of the woman, they're almost identical, except here, instead of just pointing to heaven, she has the humongous torch. Instead of one small candle, you have the torch. And instead of holding the Geneva Bible in her hand, she's holding the Declaration of Independence. She's also crowned in the glory of victory. She's the fulfillment of the matrix of liberty. She's declaring to the world that this is what we accomplished using that matrix. And how can I say that? Well, because she's holding the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is the foundational, fundamental document of America. The 27 grievances in there were sermons that were preached from the pulpit before 1763. That is documented by historians. And most of their arguments and their sermons came from the side notes of the Geneva Bible. There again, that's a historical truth that's not debatable. That's where the foundation for all this stuff came from. So here we see it. There you go. Instead of one small candle, we have a huge beacon that can be seen for miles and miles and miles across the ocean. So as one small candle can light 1,000, we can be that shining city on the hill, as Ronald Reagan so proudly exclaimed in many of his speeches, which comes from a sermon called A Model of Christian Charity. So the Declaration of, or the Forefathers Monument and the Statue of Liberty are intertwined to where we declare to the world that we will have no laws here that contradict the Bible, and that we are the example or the model of Christian charity to the world. So enjoy that one. Thank you. Bye.